Welcome to the Cyber-Footdy podcast. Hello, everyone. Where we give you normally a mix of football, banter, some analysis from expert point of views, and other fun aspects. So today is going to be a very power-packed panel. So we titled this "The Madrid Meltdown: The Classico Dominance on Barca's Aspect and the Champions League Pressure Moving Forward." Okay, Abdul is back. So with me today, we have two guests on the show. We have Abdul Gulma, popularly known as Arsenal BossG. We can't see you, but hopefully your video should be back. Who is a very stern and passionate Arsenal supporter from I think 10 to 20 years ago. We also have Sharif here with us, who is a very passionate Barcelona fan. So we're also going to have the Catalan point of view. On our in-house expert panel, we have Farid, who is a Madridista as well as myself. So I think we should just jump right in. We have so many things to talk about. But then before we start, the first aspect is actually an Arsenal point of view. BossG seems to be going in and out. I don't know. Maybe his network is not. Uh, we want to rewind the tape a bit, going back to the semi-finals of the Champions League that brought a lot of drama in, and for some moments of magic, for the teams that are eliminated, like Arsenal, Real Madrid, Barcelona, all of them, it ended basically in sort of a heartbreak. So we want to just briefly look at what went wrong tactically. Was it the squad, refereeing, and all those very controversial moments? So, Sharif, your video is off. You're muted as well. So before Boss G comes back, we'll go to the Barca point of view. In the Champions League, do you think is the Champions League actually an Achilles heel for this particular Barca squad? How do you feel about like not being able to make it the predicted treble season that has been put out all season? And also on your point of view, how did like this Hansi Flick's team manage to change the team that was basically in shambles before the beginning of the season, on and off the pitch, to play this very ultra attacking football?
Thank you. I think that the actual projection of the treble season that only came very late into the season. So looking back, I'm actually a lot happier than we expected to be, because initially this was supposed to be a transition season with we were supposed to have a new coach with Hansi Flick. Xavi just got sacked. We have a lot of new and young players joining our squad, so we weren't really supposed to win anything this season, similar to last season. However, with of course the La Liga, which is possibly going to be won this Thursday, inshallah, I can say inshallah this Thursday, and the Super Cup we won and the Copa del Rey. As far as our season, that is it's been a lot more than we expected, and of course it's just a lot for us to be happy about. As
Definitely
far
successful season, yeah. But what we want to know is the Champions League your Achilles heel, like you mentioned, but then is it that Hansi Flick brought in something that was lacking from, Xavi is by blood a Catalan, he knows what the playing style is, but somebody to come from Germany, who doesn't know anything about the Barcelona way of playing, and then to be this successful, what do you think is the secret behind it?
Well, in terms of the Champions League, I think it was more of a continuation of the previous season, because, of course, the main issue that came from Xavi's football and Hansi Flick's football is more the movement. So, understandably, Xavi preferred to play a possession football, whereas Hansi Flick likes to play a lot more direct. So, of course, the best thing that happened to Hansi Flick was that he had the players required for his kind of football. He had Pau Kubasi, he had Frankie De Jong, and then he was able to sign Dani Olmo, Fermin Lopez, Rafinha as a runner, Lamine Yamal, who's just generational, can do so much. That is something that was very fortunate for him. I think that's also what helped Xavi do a lot. As far as how much better did we do, we still did last season. We still came close as far as silverware though. We weren't able to win it. However, we came close to a lot. Of course, we came out in the Champions League in the quarterfinals, which it was a bit embarrassing. But of course, errors can always happen.
Yeah, okay. Going back to Bosji since he's back, we were talking about the Champions League and what happened in the semis, everything, knockouts. So Arsenal Basically, what happened to Seven Rice to everybody? Was it Arteta's flaws? Is it time to go? For Arteta, out. We're going to get to that. After all this, a lot of spending. I think he purchased about 34 players in his career in Arsenal. Six of them were free, based on my stats, and 28 were paid. An expenditure of almost 800 to 900 million pounds. So, what do you think happened with Seven Rice? Go ahead.
Well, in the I think this season. Hello guys, my name is Abdul. I think this season in the Champions League obviously improved from where we have been for the past how many years. We have not been in the Champions League, and we returned last year, and we ended up in the quarterfinals. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, we ended up in the quarterfinals last year, and this year obviously we reached the semis. So to me, there's progress
Okay.
in the Champions League.
So we lost him
Obviously,
there. I think
in the league we have
his
stepped back.
network is
We
very,
have
very
actually
poor.
stepped back from where
So
we
we'll
were
just
two
move
two
on
years ago and
to
last
the
year.
next. But I would
But in the
love to
Champions League,
hear
for me,
that point of view
it's a step
from
forward. I mean, it
an
takes
Arsenal
clubs
fan
in a
point of
project.
view.
It takes clubs 8 9 years before they win a
Farid, as a
Champions League.
Madrid fan,
Famously, Chelsea's
for
had
you
to
as a
had
rival
to
fan,
spend
what do
like
you make of
how many
Barca's
billion pounds before they won a Champions League
season or an Arsenal
under
season, really?
Roman
Who had more
Abramovich.
prospects?
So
Is it Barcelona
spending money
or Arsenal
is
in terms of the
inevitable
Champions League, basically?
in modern football. Spending money, you can't judge anybody based on something.
Definitely
Everybody's spending
Barcelona
money.
has more prospects because they went
It's just inflation.
about to
But
win
for
the
me,
league
there's real
definitely
progress.
next week, unless
Last year
something
we went out
happens.
to Bayern quarterfinals.
And all in all, I think the way they play, it's very, very assertive.
I think his network is very, very poor.
So I think they're very assertive in the way they play. However, I still prefer the way Arsenal defends. I think they're more disciplined than Barcelona. So yes, Barcelona has actually improved on where they were last season, and I'm actually excited to see what they will do next year because I know Flick usually tends to burn out his teams. So hopefully he doesn't, and then we'll have a very interesting El Clasico as we used to
Do
have
you do
before.
you think that Barcelona are the remontada kings now?
No, I don't think so.
With all the remontada that they have done this season, I think
Uh,
even though it's not always in the Champions League, but they have done a lot of remontadas. Sharif, you can attest that you guys have come back from more matches, I think, than ever in your history. I think.
Yeah, it's a bit funny, especially in the recent past because, yeah, as it happened with Inter two times, with Real Madrid this last game, and if I'm not mistaken, a couple times prior in the season. Well, yeah, it's very crazy. It's very crazy. Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk Classico.
aren't we going to talk about the remontada and the reverse remontada against Inter?
The Inter game, I honestly I attribute it to two things. Firstly, I would say Hansi Flick was outcoached by Simone Inzaghi, but also it's because of I'd also have to say it's also due to the injuries. In my opinion, I believe that Alex Balde and Jules Koundé, they're the best fullbacks in the world. Not having them in a Champions League semi-final is bound to hurt us, and this is where Simone Inzaghi was able to simply outcoach Hansi Flick.
When you say best left backs, do you mean just in the Catalan aspect of Spain, or in Spain, or in Europe, or in the world?
I think in world football in general, which it might be a bit optimistic. However, that is my yeah.
What do you think about that, Freddie? Do you have other contestants? I know in Madrid we don't have
I
a right
think
back
as
right
of
now.
right now, Ashraf Hakimi and Nuno Mendes are the best fullbacks in the
Than
world
PSG,
as of
yes.
now. Yes.
I think they would be up there as well. So everybody I think would be contenders. So it will be maybe based on stats. These days we use goals and assists. We rarely use interceptions and stuff. I don't know. So that is another debate that can possibly. Now let's talk Classico. We have been waiting for this for a while. I will start with Farid. 4 straight losses in one season. Of course, we have done it before, I know, but then this season it's, I would say, a little bit embarrassing. Not to give excuses about injuries and burnout and the rest, but then the first thing is, what seems to be the recurring issue in these Classico losses this season?
Not knowing how to stop Barcelona.
So is it the offside traps? We've beaten
No,
them.
it's the conceding. We conceded 16, I think, or 17 goals over 4 games. That is too much. That shows that you haven't learned anything from the first game, haven't learned anything from the second game, haven't learned anything from the third game. So you're just basically winging it every single day, just trying to will your team into victories, which doesn't work. Because Barcelona were 2 down, and yet they still had faith in their and belief in their system that it would somehow get them goals, and it did. So, but we have nothing to fall back on when something goes wrong. And I think that has just been the difference between a well coached side and a side that relies on individual brilliance.
Exactly. You couldn't have said it any better. But Sharif, do you think, to be honest, is this new Barcelona dominance, is it like a new dominance or is just Madrid in transition?
I'd have to say both because as far as Barcelona dominance, it's nothing like we've seen in from 2008 to around 2015 at latest. Is at least I think now that it's not going to be anything like that, and we do have to attribute it to Real Madrid transition because with Toni Kroos being out, with key figures like Carvajal injured for a majority of the season, not really.
Militao.
Yeah, Militao, yeah, with his ACL injury on his second knee, things like this, they truly affect teams' performances. And I think I couldn't necessarily pin this on Ancelotti directly, but I think he still has some fault to this, as Farid said. I completely agree. But as far as this season, the 4-on-4, if you want to count the preseason, it's actually 5. Yeah, as far as, yeah, I think it's just a case of Barcelona were just consistently better than Real Madrid this season.
Yeah, consistency. But Farid, do you think, is it the midfield, is it the defense, or is it just Vasquez maybe? Somebody that we always shoot our shot at during matches. Yeah.
While Vasquez has his own issues and he's washed, I can't really blame him because it's the coach that keeps putting him in the exile. I mean, why do you keep putting the same guy when you know he's vulnerable there? Everybody just seems to target him and he's making errors and mistakes and all these things. But it's not just that. I think it's down to tactical setup. If you notice, most of our players used to run into each other. Mbappe and Vini ran into each other yesterday, where Vini miscontrolled. Ceballos and Mbappe actually took out Mbappe, and they had a counter attack which they scored from. These things all happen because players don't respect or they don't have an area in which.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's down to, I would say, tactics. Even though, yes, we have a weakened side and they are a lot better than we are right now. I mean, I don't think they are 16, 17 goals better than us over 4 games.
Yes. I think, okay, so starting with, my question was actually directed to start from an Arsenal fan's point of view, with Saliba, always in the rumor news, whether he will go to Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, whatever it is. I wanted to have his take on this, but then zooming out of the Saliba, for a centre back, Real Madrid needs a centre back without injuries, even if they come back. Alaba is almost done, I think, with his career entirely. You cannot survive all these injuries and then come back fully. And Militao is on his second ACL in 2 seasons. I mean, for Barcelona, I don't think it can be sustained, especially if you play against teams that will have more possession and more football. So I will start with Sharif. Aspect of the Barcelona squad do you think needs to be improved? Already, actually, I struggled to find maybe is it Inigo Martinez, the centre back? Inigo Martinez. I know Pau Kubarsi is just the sky's the limit for him. He will be learning. But Inigo Martinez has a lot of flaws that we have exploited before. So is it that part, or is it the backup for your wing backs? Is it, what aspects do you think? Quickly, yeah.
Yeah, I think, of course, I think it's actually literally the backup for our fullbacks. As far as Inigo Martinez, I think he's quite solid, but apart from that, I'd say another left winger or forward, because I understand Lewandowski is able to score a lot of goals, but he also has the best creators in the world to create for him. And if you ask me, I think his numbers have been a lot, they're rather inflated for his performances. So I think if we invest in a proper striker, someone like Ferran Torres, who of course has shown that given the minutes, he's going to get the goals that we need. Yesterday he got 3 assists as well. Someone like that, where they're able to fully capitalize on the moments that he's given, I think that might be something that we need. But yeah, just mostly the most important thing that I'd have to say is the strengthening the fullback positions.
Okay, what about in the Real Madrid squad? I keep on bringing up Saliba because he's the one that is being mentioned. But honestly, for me, I'm not a fan, and I would love to have the point of view of BossG if he was here. I know we're going to debate on this. I think he's a very good centre back, but not that world class. I think the Premier League inflates his his capability. He's very, very good, But when you look at the performances that they have lost, key games, you look at his performances are a little bit average and below par. Who do you think is out there that we can get? Should we go to South America and get some of those very stern hard tacklers and stuff? I mean, I have no idea at this stage. Yeah.
I think the last time we spoke about this, I said Bastoni, and I'm still
Yes,
sticking with that because I feel like our left
I
side
agree.
is really, really weak. David Alaba is good. If he can stay fit, yeah, I wouldn't mind having him for an extra season. But Bastoni should be the guy that we're looking at because especially if they win the Champions League, I think Inter will be more open to letting him go. Yeah, and Saliba will just cost an arm and a leg to get.
Yes, exactly. It's too expensive. But Sharif, from your own point of view as a Barcelona fan, who do you think Real Madrid or what position should we fix at least? So we're looking at an outsider's point of view in this case. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 100% the main two. Sorry, I know you asked for one. The main two is a centre back and a right back, because of course Lucas Vazquez he's a poor footballer, but with Carvajal as his backup, not his backup, the main forward, with his injury record, you don't want to risk having that much more weakness in your side. That's something that could be very well exploited in your game over the season. I don't think that should be something that should be sustainable, but as far as the next position, it's 100% a centre back. And I think with Dean Huijsen from it looks like he's a huge Real Madrid fan, and of course he's well respected in the Premier League. Of course, he plays for Bournemouth, and he's clearly one of their best players.
For that, I'm afraid of another Woodgate incident. You can attest to the Woodgate. I mean, we brought in somebody like from the Premier League, something similar to this stage. But then, I mean, it will only pan out. I don't know if it does. But then, looking at moving on to the coaching perspective, Barca have
I would like to
already.
return
Okay,
to
please,
return
please
the
go
same
ahead.
favor to Sharif. I
Yes,
think Barcelona should look at how they can play without Pedri because Pedri is really instrumental to everything they do,
he's
and
their
they should
cruise.
try to find somebody that, if Pedri is out, can stay in and actually conduct and distribute all the balls within their midfield.
I mean, as Madrid fans, we don't pray for bad stuff, but then we pray for Pedri's injury, because he's like the symphony player that controls everything in terms of the tempo. So he reminds me of the way Cruz controls everything. Should we attack? Should we just sit back and defend? I mean, you guys need to either get a replacement or somebody to play in his place so that he can rest. If not, you want to repeat last season's burnout that he actually does. So that's our own point of view. We highly rate him. But then, as I was going into the Barcelona have already changed their coach last season. They've gone through
Just give me
this.
1 second.
So Barcelona, you guys have changed your coach. What is your perspective as a Barca fan on the future perspectives of Xabi Alonso?
Yes,
Starting.
as you're saying, he's been confirmed today as a Real Madrid manager. I find that quite interesting because, of course, he's someone with his own strong tactical philosophy and identity. Although I don't know too much about how he played at Leverkusen. I know he has a bit of flexibility and adaptability in his locker, which I always appreciate in a manager. The one issue that I fear is that he doesn't have the players that he's looking for, because most notable for Leverkusen's performances is their fullbacks, their wingbacks, who are almost attackers at times. I don't know if Real Madrid have that. The only one who I can currently have hope for is Fran Garcia, because of course he's one of the Real Madrid players who at least I can respect a little bit. Although his performances aren't, of course, the best, but I see some potential in him. I think he might be okay in the system that.
He's more attacking than defending. He cannot defend his life, actually.
Yes. But with a player like Chouameni as well, I think he might do well in like the Xhaka role. As far as the attackers, I'm again not sure with the egos that he has to deal with and all this, but nothing is impossible. And I think taking a year out to, win like just the Super Cup and sit out the Champions League or the La Liga. Of course, try your best, but taking 1 year out before they get into the rhythm of things, a couple transfer windows, see what's working, see what's not working. I think Xabi Alonso, he might have a future at Real Madrid.
Yeah, my own personal fear is so that we don't have like a repeat of Xavi at Barcelona, you know. Of course, Real Madrid in his first season fumbled a lot, Atletico, everybody. I actually attribute his first season as a failure, even though he won the league, because even Barcelona fans will tell you, you guys didn't play well. You had a lot of off and on the pitch struggles, but then he managed to win the league, and then he got sacked the next season. I'm afraid of that kind of player, you know, because they lack that much experience, especially like you said, to manage the egos, which is very, very. I mean, you have Vinny, you have Mbappe, you have Rodrigo, Bellingham, all these people that you need to massage their egos and stuff. So, Farid, we were talking about the Xabi Alonso and what we are afraid of, and he gave his own aspect. Do you think we have the players to play his 3-5-2? I think Sharif mentioned Fran Garcia to play more attacking on the left, you know, because of his very, very poor defensive way of playing. But in terms of right back, I don't know. Trent can play there, do you think? But what if? So in this type of 3-5-2, you need to have backup upon backup about your because your play goes through your wing backs. So just like Inter, every match they play all four wing backs. Everybody that starts will be subbed because they get tired over time, you know, maybe in the second half. So do we have those players, you know?
Yes, we do. Trent actually will. I see him more as a Grimaldo because he's like a quarterback from deep. You know, he can play long passes. He can, link up with the midfielder and invert and come inside. He can shoot. He can all those things that Grimaldo does. Very good from dead balls. Fran Garcia has that energy and the pace to just keep running, and they'll keep. So it will be more of the same, like Leverkusen, but the other way around. It will be inverted. We do have
But
some of the players.
how is he going to combine the way Xabi plays is with a center forward, not a striker. Center forward. We don't have that. Maybe
In his first season, he used Diaby, and Diaby is not as doesn't have the presence
okay.
of a Victor
So
Boniface,
you
but
think he can manage Vinny and Mbappe or Vinny and Rodrigo? Okay.
yes, he can.
So my next aspect is Sharif. We need the Barca perspective on this, especially in the Brazilian team, national team. Vini, Rafinha playing in the national team, considering their best positions that they have thrived, especially let's say this season. Rafinha has been coming off the left wing. Vini plays there. I know Rafinha can be flexible and stuff, but in Brazilian team, how do you think that particular playing style is going to affect their relationship?
So I think from watching the Copa America, from what I remember, the main issue is almost the middle of the pitch. With the thing is with the problem in the middle of the pitch, they're not able to create much for the wingers to get. They're not able to put the wingers in the positions that they really want. And of course, Brazil are lacking a high profile striker, someone that can actually do what they need for them to do. The best bet is Endrick, and Endrick has not really been performing for the past almost 2 years, since almost he joined Real Madrid. So I still think it's a case where Vinicius Jr. might be the best profile to play, although Rafinha has showed that he's the player that they need to have on the pitch at any time. So I think it might be a case where has to play on the right for his country, but then he comes for his club and plays on the left. Although I don't know the plan, I don't know the main plans for the.
I think Rafinha played on the right in Xavi era. I think.
Yeah. In Xavi era, he had moments where he even played at Cam. He played all around the. But I don't think for Brazil he's going to be able to play from the left just because of the creation that they're looking for.
Okay, Farid, do you have any input on this aspect, Vinny Rafinha?
I think it will be. I don't know when Rafinha was playing. When Rafinha was playing in the in Leeds, he was actually very good on that right side. It was dangerous coming in, cutting in. Sorry, one second.
Okay, yes.
So he was really dangerous coming in from that, cutting in and going onto his left. So Rafinha should be able to play on the right side, and if they have anybody in the center, that would also be good for Vinicius because Vinicius always plays better when he has a target.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll go to the next section of normally, the podcast. If you remember, Farid, we always have these hot take questions, quick fire. So we'll start with our guest. So Sharif, it's either this or that. So you have to choose one. So Metropolitano or Bernabeu?
Wait, sorry, is it to play against or
Whatever it is, which one you prefer or play.
Metropolitano? Metropolitano.
Okay. So we have one for the Arsenal. I wanted to ask him Arteta in or out, so he's not here to answer. So for you, Farid, new centre forward or just Endrick?
New centre forward.
So we'll go back again and we'll start with Farid again. Rodrigo in or out?
In.
So do you prefer to win La Liga and Copa del Rey in a season, or you prefer to just win the Champions League in a season?
Champions League, as of now.
Not combined, just one. So a
Yeah,
bundle.
just the Champions League,
Yeah,
Champions
okay.
League.
So this one would have been very, very controversial. I think I saw it in one of the Arsenal fan TV. So I wanted to ask him for Arsenal to either win the Premier League and Cup double, so like the Premier League or the Cup, or and then allow Tottenham to win the Champions League, or all of them to remain trophyless. So that was a very, depending on how the Arsenal fans do, I will leave that. I think he will send in his answer and I will add it. So now next, up to the Ballon d'Or rankings. If you remember, Farid, we discussed this in the group about this. Do you think, I will start with Farid, do you think any Real Madrid players will be in the top 5 or top 10?
No.
So back to Sharif. Do you think, without winning the Champions League, any of the Barcelona players will make the podium, not win the Ballon d'Or, definitely, will make the podium?
Yes, maybe even one or two.
So give me your top 3 Ballon d'Or power rankings right now, predicted to win.
Number one, I would
Prepare
say.
yours, Farid, also. Prepare yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, number one.
Number one, I'd say Lamine Yamal.
To win,
Yes.
but you have to look at the realistic. Okay, I'll allow you to finish. The number two.
Yeah. Being completely honest, I still say Lamine Yamal number one. Number two, potentially Mohamed Salah, and then number three, Pedri Gonzalez.
So for them to win the Ballon d'Or, which is a European award given to those normally who win the Champions League, normally, unless you're Ronaldo or Messi, normally you have to win the Champions League to win that. So all people that you have mentioned are not going to win the Champions League.
I mean, it's still an award for the best footballer in Europe. No, it's not. It's not really restricted to.
Yeah, it's not because
Yeah.
but normally, I mean, when you gain more points when you have the Champions League. So
Yeah, that's understandable, but we have to remember that Lamine Yamal is a player that's excited the whole Champions League. It's likely that he's going to finish as the best player in the Champions League. It's likely that, well, not even that it's likely, most people watched him perform in the Inter Milan game, not even just the Champions League, the Real Madrid games that he's played. He's been very exciting to watch the whole year. Granted that he's missed some chances where that could have completely put him into the next category, the Messi category, the Messi Ronaldo category. He's missed some chances there, but he's still been one of the best players in the world, if not the best. And this is even coming off where he placed last year when he was still top 10 footballers. And this was at the age of 17 last year, so this year will be 18. And if he's able to do that then, having only won the Euros, nothing else, this year with 2 finals against Real Madrid, of course, lighting up the Champions League, I see no reason why he can't win it.
okay, Farid, what about yours?
Before we go further, I would like to ask Sharif if he thinks Vinny was robbed of the Ballon d'Or last year.
We've had this before Sharif answer. We've had this actual debate on Instagram for quite a long time. I think last year or so, or beginning of this year. I think so. Just give him your answer before he gives us that. Yeah.
I think should I be short or long?
Short. We
I
almost
don't
here.
think so. I don't think so.
So it goes back to what I've said. Actually, you have to win a European Cup to be the Ballon d'Or winner. Vinny won, but then what's his name? Rodri also won the Euros, so which is a European championship. So that's back to your point, Sharif. You have to win a European footballer trophy for you to be the former European Footballer of the Year, or now the Ballon d'Or, which is global. So do you want to...
Are we talking about just winning it or actually contributing to winning it?
Yeah, contributing to winning it, exactly.
He wasn't even the best player in that squad. He wasn't even the 5th best player in that squad.
But he yes, I understand, but he won I think the player of the tournament.
The year before, if you tell me Rodri is the best player in the world, I will agree. Not for the year he won it. And so I'll give you my 3 finalists now. Dembele,
PSG if they win,
Rafinha,
or just
if
like
they
that?
win,
Okay.
if they win, or even if they don't win, he's a finalist. Finalist is a finalist. Yes. Rafinha second, Mo Salah third. The reason why I'm not putting Lamine Yamal in there is because I don't think he has necessarily pushed himself into the GOAT category. You having a one good season doesn't make you the best player in the world. Last season,
But do you
I
think
think
he
he
will
had
squeeze
five
in top
goals.
five?
It doesn't matter. He has 6 league goals.
Do you think he will squeeze in the
I
top five?
wouldn't vote a player for having 6 league goals as saying he is the best player in the world. Yes, you have some fancy footwork and you whip in a couple of crosses here and there. It's not enough. You have to do that next year, and then really, when your numbers help your team, which is what they tell us, like your numbers have to actually help your team, which Rafinha's does. That's why I'm putting Rafinha in there.
I mean, Rafinha
So,
numbers are scary. It's are
yes,
scary, yeah.
I can actually make a point and say in 2022, Karim Benzema won because his numbers without his goals were nowhere.
Exactly.
However, he wasn't the best player in our team.
He wasn't.
Vinny was the best player in our team. But nobody pushed for that because, his teammate is actually the one with the big dog.
Yeah.
Rafinha is not there yet. Sorry, Lamine Yamal is not there yet. So
So
that's
you
my two
you
finalists.
you you will push Rafinha ahead of Lamine Yamal for now.
Yes, I would.
Sorry, may I just ask a quick question?
Yep. Go ahead.
Do you know how many goals Vinicius Junior has for Brazil?
Not Brazil, we're talking about Real Madrid. It's club
Well, as
Brazil.
in as far as his Ballon d'Or push, do you know how many goals he has for his national country in his career?
I don't know, but I know it's 4.
What I
6.
what I would say is his Brazilian form for his national
Yeah.
team actually was
It
one
has
of the
nothing to
reasons
do.
for his demise. Actually.
But in nobody has his numbers in last year's UEFA Champions League. Nobody
Yeah.
does. Everything he leads it in everything.
And I would always say this: he was unlucky because there was a Euro that year. You know, he was very, very unlucky. I mean, so many players have actually failed at, this. We have Lewandowski at Bayern, when Modric won during the World Cup. So many players were better than
Schneider,
him, but because Schneider,
Ribery,
I mean, you can be unlucky and then somebody will just perform in a World Cup and just win, or a major European championship and win. So I would attribute that to his Brazilian form. But then he's still young. I think
he has
I,
time.
I just yeah, I just think that the Brazilian team are just not, they don't have that, as you would say, panache like previous Brazilian teams.
Sorry,
I mean,
may I add one more thing?
go ahead.
So the thing is with Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. Rafinha is he truly benefits from Hansi Flick's system, being allowed to be the runner, chance creator and stuff. He fully gets to, the numbers are there for him to just go and take. However, Lamine Yamal, for him it's more than numbers. There was a point in last season, I think around November last season, where Lamine Yamal got injured and Barcelona, we dropped points. I think you guys should remember this period. How at first we were winning, and then at a point we slowly lost form. This was because Lamine Yamal, he was injured, he wasn't playing. But the thing is, if Rafinha is not playing, we're still able to win games. Our main difference is Lamine Yamal himself. There's a term that a lot of Barca fans even use, Lamine dependencia. We rely on him to do anything. We could even see this from I think was it the Mallorca game recently? No, the Real Valladolid game, where someone else came and then we weren't able to create much. We weren't getting anywhere. Lamine Yamal came on. He didn't do much, and he was able to still change the game, and we were able to score from him. Like his presence, his chance creating. He allows the footballers to do stuff. So I think it's a case where it's more than numbers, because even through this, I can say Pedri hasn't assisted much. So he can't even be the best creator. However, that can't really be the case, because he's more than the numbers can truly suggest. He's more than, pass completion. More than this is when you watch him, who is really making the difference for that squad.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but
I get.
Sharif, what we're saying is his impact is, yes, in the eye test, he passes the eye test, but his impact, his output is not where it's at for you to say he is the best. Let's remember the kind of players that actually used to win this before Pedri, before Rodri. Talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Kaká, Ronaldinho, Zinedine Zidane. Like, you have to actually put yourself out there first for everybody to say, yes, he has a chance, and then next year do it again. But you can't finish 10th and then come the next year later with 6 league goals and say you're the. I mean, it just doesn't.
For me, what I would say is it's for Lamine Yamal right now. He's playing the role like we had before with Bale, who actually normally was, especially in his first few seasons, was very outstanding, both attacking, defending, doing all the hard work in creating. But then Cristiano Ronaldo takes home everything because he has the numbers most
Actually,
of the
I
time
think
in
Lamine
most
plays
seasons.
more like Messi in the sense that he is the one delivering in the balls, and Rafinha and Lewandowski are putting them away.
Finishing.
But what I'm saying is, if he does it consistently, then he will be the best player in the world. For example, the way when I think Suarez had the highest league goals, still Messi ended up clinching the Ballon d'Or that year. So yeah, he will have his time. I'm just saying, not this year.
So you still rate Rafinha ahead of Lamine Yamal.
This season, yeah.
So Sharif, do you still stand by your power rankings, or you want to make some changes?
The only two that I would change is my second and third. However, I still believe Lamine Yamal should be there.
So who would you change? Are you switching them or something?
No. I haven't thought about it too much. I'd have to sit down and think about it a little bit more. But as of now, I'll still keep it as Lamine, then Mohamed Salah, then Pedro Gonzalez.
So you wouldn't even put Rafinha there.
No.
Or
So
Dembele.
my issue with Pedri being there is normally players like that. We have seen the likes of, even in Real Madrid, Modric in our three-peat seasons, Modric and Cruz didn't even have like a sniff in the podium, but they actually played like the vital background role of us winning, and they never made it there. So I would think Pedri would be similar as well. He wouldn't make the podium, but then he was instrumental in like doing everything. So
I hear that, however, it's the case of when Pedri, he consistently wins man of the matches, both in the UCL and domestically. Something similar happened where I think it was 2010 where Messi won the Ballon d'Or, but the UEFA Men's Player went to, I can't remember if it was Xavi or Iniesta, well, between one of them. I think it's a case where, of course, now that these guys can profit that there's no Messi and there's no Ronaldo, it's more up for the odds. It's a case where if you truly are the best player, then you should have, irrespective of, I understand the numbers that output, all of this, irrespective, if you are the best player, regardless of your position, regardless of whatever it is, you should be awarded the trophy.
okay, I think the debate will never end. So I would like to for us to end with this, and it's for everyone here. You would have just one sentence, one answer, and one sentence, so that we can wrap up. So the question is Barcelona's winning the 4 Clásicos in one season for this season officially better than what Real Madrid's same feat in previous seasons? Is it better?
So could you remind me of the season?
I think, was it last season or 2 seasons ago that we had a similar feat, both from the Saudi down to the Clásicos?
Unfortunately, I can't remember to give you a good answer, but I'll say no.
Okay, Farid.
I think it's the most embarrassing I've ever seen this club. So yeah, I would also say no. I think, like he said, if you include the friendlies, it's 5 defeats, and with us, I think it was 3 in a row, and they have 5 in a row. So it's
Yeah, I would say also. I think it's way better than ours as well. So, even though ours also resulted in trophies, but then this was really a meltdown
and
entirely.
the Champions League.
Exactly, yeah. So thank you guys. This was really fire. So whether you're a Madridista hurting or you're a Barca fan smiling for the winning the league, hopefully, or just a football romantic, today we actually dove deep, huge thanks to our Madridista Nigeria panel and those that missed out, to BossG that started, and to Sharif for actually gracing this very productive debate that we have. So we hope to invite you in upcoming episodes as well, especially if we have the likes of Classicos that have especially all those refereeing decisions, which I actually avoided in this particular podcast. So don't forget, everybody, guys, I will send you the link to the recording. Subscribe, share with your friends, please, and catch us on the next episode as we head back into our own football trenches that we normally go back to, where this is the Cyber-Footdy podcast, where passion meets perspective. So thank you.